Dr. Arubasu, the Managing Director of Hotamaki BPL. Truly an honor to have your humble presence, sir. Over to you for your presentation, please. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Ashok, Team IBC, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be able to present or showcase a PowerPoint presentation on a Sunday morning. And thank you for being patient. The reason I thought we'd have a presentation is because we manufacture and sell products that hopefully all of you use in some manner or form, and that's flexible packaging. And that is used for things like confectionery and other FMCG products that all of you use. So a quick show of hands in terms of if over the last year you've bought at least some chocolate for someone. Nobody? One person? Not a very friendly lot you are, huh? Okay, now more hands are going up. So this is really my team, and this is who I'm representing. And the reason I want to talk a little bit about packaging is because just to give you a sense of the consumer movements that are happening in India, and this is the kind of forecast you have in terms of the size of the pyramid. And in recent times, I think all of you are familiar with the kind of negative press that plastics and flexible packaging has had. And I just wanted to use this opportunity to share that, look, the advantages of flexible packaging from an environmental perspective, not anything else, are tremendous. And it's something that as an industry we have not done enough. So whenever I get an opportunity, whether it's because of being a gold sponsor, or it's because I have a kind audience, or I have a kind event manager who's willing to give us a slot, we want to talk about this. So this is the kind of, this is not working much, but this is the pyramid who need to buy things, who are buying FMCG products, etc., and going ahead. In terms of packaging, all of you are customers of packaging, not just as consumers, but even when you go for a health checkup, etc., the needle, any of the equipment that's used in hospitals are used with disposable plastics. They don't really cause any harm. And that's the sense I wanted to give you, that the requirements of flexible packaging is really changing. You now want a very different type of packaging. You want it to be sustainable, that's top of the item. You want it to be personalized, and there are lots of innovations that all our customers, who are the FMCG guys, they're carrying out in order to be able to give you this. But fundamentally, please remember that packaging has to provide certain functional attributes, and that's about protecting what's inside. We can't compromise those basics in as an alternative to all the other optics that we want to manage. So fundamentally, the product has to be safe. The product has to be safe across the shelf life for which you've put it. And those can't be substituted with other alternatives. So this is an additive requirement. You have all the fundamentals, and then you want it to be smarter and more sustainable and better to look at. So this is the story of what's happening in packaging. About 50% of consumer packaging is made of plastics. So before we jump into the banning bandwagon, please do remember that it's a largely a plastic industry in terms of packaging. And as of now, 14% is getting recycled. And my submission here to this audience would be to say that this can easily be increased to nearly 100%. And that's really the point I want to make, that yes, as of now, we do have a challenge, but it's not something that cannot be overcome through the right actions. And this is where the Indian government is actually helping quite a bit in terms of enabling resolutions and policies to drive that. And I'm not talking about landfilling. That's a very, very poor, inelegant way to get rid of the problem, burying it. There are other better solutions that are coming out. And so what we are doing as a company, and we are a leading flexible packaging company, and it's not unique for us, but for all others who are in packaging, is really to think of this world in a circular motion in our mind than a linear approach. Typically, we look at industries a linear way. We make something, we give it to a consumer, and then we forget about it. It's not our problem. But we've really started now thinking of it being our problem right the way back. And that then allows you not to sacrifice any of the advantages and conveniences of this. Because just assume if you're taking a truck and you carry products in flexible packaging, the ratio of product to packaging is far more attractive than if you put it in any rigid plastic or rigid glass or metal or anything like that. So really the industry is getting used to moving. I'm sorry, the lights are on, but they don't point. So one of those interesting things. But essentially it's a circular movement. So the industry is looking to collecting and sorting and then recycling and bringing it back into some other applications. And so there is a guilt-free use of flexible packaging that you can have, and it's really the mindset and orientation of our companies that's changing to allow us to do that. And there is a role all of you have to play in this as well. So it's not just, we've called it Blue Loop just to bring about in India, it's a branding exercise to convey to our consumers and our customers that we really are taking a serious crack at making sure that whatever plastic packaging that you have, plastic, paper, metal, all of that, there is a path to recycle it. It's already there. We don't have to do another 10 years of research for it. It just has to be scaled up, and it just has to be applied across the board. I have a 5-minute slot, so I don't want to exceed that. But this is really what we do, starting from use, collect, sort, and this is where all of you can play a bit of a role in terms of the way you segregate. And this is, anyone who has a finance background typically likes a nice IRR, whether it's government projects, private projects. The question you ask is, what's the IRR? And there's a new way of looking at IRR. You have innovation, you have reputation, and you have resources. And I think all three are fairly critical for us in India now as we make the next leap forward to at least aspirationally to a $5 trillion economy. And you can substitute your company name in the middle. I represent this company, so I've put my company name, but feel free to use it. But these three IRR elements, I think, are applicable to everyone who's here and the ones they represent. So why do I say flexible packaging is guilt-free? Because I would assume all of you have been to the US in the last 1 year. At least many of you would have, or plan to go over the next year. The entire CO2 footprint of one trip back from New York is equivalent to 43 years or 45 years of your personal plastic consumption. So if you've done 2 trips, you've done 86 years worth of equivalent CO2. So please do not have any guilt when you use this. Please do remember that there is an industry that's waking up. Yes, it is waking up, unfortunately, but when it wakes up and it gets going, it really will get going. But this is something that is actually environmentally benign. Because I think the other conveniences of flexible packaging are already known. I don't need to sell it. But I think the fact that it's environmentally benign is something that is not familiar with the audience at large and with consumers at large. And that's why I picked an example like this. So I have an old Scandinavian phrase that I like. We are a Scandinavian country. It's a Finnish headquartered. And that's why it's such a struggle to pronounce Huhtamaki, because it's a Finnish name. But essentially, the Scandinavians have a phrase that the best place to look for a helping hand is at the end of your arm. And this is because all of you as citizens can at least do one small thing. When you start segregating your own waste in terms of plastic and others, it just helps this whole recycling process. So I hope all of us in this country do not have to sacrifice the advantages that we have of flexible packaging. I'm not pitching my company here. I'm just talking about packaging that we use. And that's really the purpose why I wanted to make this presentation. So all of you have a role, and the best place, as I said, for a helping hand is really with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, Arup sir, for the presentation and really the highlights for flexible packaging. Thank you very much, Mr. Arup Basu. Ladies and gentlemen, so now we have India's Most Trusted Company Awards. So we shall take 30 minutes for India's Most Trusted Company Awards, post which we shall have India's Most Trusted Education Awards for the next 15 minutes, post which we shall have the group photo op and individual media bites, and we shall greet and meet for a lavish lunch. So to begin with, I'm going to once again request our special guest, Dr. A. Ashok and Mr. Hemant Kaushik, to kindly be with us here on stage for India's Most Trusted Companies Awards. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, India's most trusted investment banking security services company award goes to IDBI Capital Markets and Securities Limited. Hearty congratulations to IDBI Capital Markets and Securities Limited. With us on stage is Mr. Nagaraj Garla, Managing Director and CEO, along with one of the colleagues from IDBI Capital Markets and Securities Limited. India's most trusted investment banking and securities services company. Ladies and gentlemen, India's most trusted public sector banking services company goes to Canara Bank. Hearty congratulations to Canara Bank. Dr. Manoranjan Sharma, General Manager and Chief Learning Officer, along with Mr. Bhavendra Kumar, Deputy General Manager, are here with us. Congratulations to you, sirs. Hearty congratulations to Canara Bank for India's most trusted public sector banking services company award. With us on stage are Dr. Manoranjan Sharma and Mr. Bhavendra Kumar. Ladies and gentlemen, India's most trusted conglomerate